My name is Mike Bath, and this is my YouTube channel, Living in the Illusion. Now, last time we got together, we talked about a vengeful and hostile world and how we interface with that, and sometimes not too well. And I also ask you to look around your space, the space that you're in, and everything that you see, say, I see nothing that isn't perishable. I see nothing that will last. And that is how our world really is. Everything moves away. And I'll put a link to that up there so that you can refresh your memory or have an opportunity to see it for the first time. Now this week we're going to have a little controversy between, and I put it up here, what feelings are and what emotions are. So in the illusion, emotions are thought of as interactions in the body, physiological things in the body. Emotions cause the body to react in certain ways, and the output of that is a feeling. So you have emotions generated in the body that end up as feelings that you sense. We're going to look at that a little bit different. Now, in A Course in Miracles, it says you only have two emotions. You have fear or you have love. So we're going to look at those two, and I'm going to change it, and we're going to look at other models. And we're going to pick 3 books that we're going to take models out of. One of them is A Course in Miracles, and one of them is called Ask and It Is Given, by Esther, Hicks, and Abraham, and also at that time her husband Jerry. And the last one we're going to look at is one that was written quite a few years ago. I think its first publication was in 1995 or something, and it was been published since then other times. And it is called Power versus Force, by David, and I got it right here, David Hawkins. And so I'm going to add this up so you can see it, hopefully you can see it a little better, because it has a lot of interesting things in it. But I read it a long time ago, and it had a lot of impact on me. He tested a lot of people to see what their energy level was, and then relate that to emotions. So those are the 3 books we're going to take information from and look at feelings and emotions differently. So I'll put that down. Let us start with a little scale. And this is the one out of the Course in Miracles. and this is fear on this side, love over here. So this is kind of a scale. Maximum up here. And down here, 0. 0. Now, when you have maximum fear, you got 0 love. You got, when this is maximum, you got 0 love. And when love is maximum, you have 0 fear. So the two kind of go together. Now, what do you want? Well, I would say, well, I want love in my life. I want to be happy. I want to be joyous. And those are all descriptors of what is around love. You say, well, I don't want this over here, because that's around hate, that's around disappointment, that's around everything that I don't want. Well, the secret is, in this life, you're going to have a little bit of both. Now, how much you have of both is going to depend on your experience and how you interpret that experience. The more love, the less fear. The more fear, the less love. So that shouldn't be too unusual to look at, would you think? So that is the two emotions in A Course in Miracles. Now, I'm going to change this a little bit. I'm going to move it around. I wanted you to see this model. Now I'm going to change it. I'm going to put it the other way around. I want to put it this way. Love, fear. And I want to relate these two feelings of vibration. When your body experiences love, it vibrates at a certain frequency. And the frequency is high. The frequency is high when you are experiencing love. And fear, when you experience fear, your vibration is low vibration. So these are vibrations that we relate to feelings, because it vibrates. And we say, oh, I feel that. So now, over here, this is out of the Course. And now, Esther's book with Abraham also has a scale. At the top is love. At the bottom can be a lot of things, but it gets down to shame and guilt and hatred. So down here, again, is fear. And up here is love. Self-respect, compassion, and those things that you would associate with love. Now, David Hawkins, when he did his work, he used to tell what the person was feeling, he used muscle testing. Now, if you're not familiar with muscle testing, you can look it up on the internet and also on YouTube, and there are a lot of information on muscle testing. You can get pretty proficient at it. I've tried it, and I'm only halfway proficient, maybe a little less than halfway. But I recognize how it works. In his scale, now this is kind of linear. In David Hawkins' scale, it is more of a logarithmic scale. So in his scale, the top end is 1,000 because he's using different frequency. At the bottom end is, I think, 20. And again, that's related to fear and all the things you don't want. Love ends up to be about, I think, 500 on his scale. So out here, you got 500 equal to love and 1,000 at the top end. The 1,000 that he's talking about as a vibrational equivalent is related to pure consciousness, which is way above what we talk about as love. And that gets into a long scale. Average, we got kind of like average. I got half of the time I'm loving and compassionate, and sometimes I'm fearful and don't move out or take opportunities that I should or would like to. And so it reflects itself here. So Esther's scale in her book, Asking It Is Given, is worked out that this is, now I'm going to give you, when I edit this, I'm going to put in a picture a little more clear than what I have here. Okay? So right around 200 is the center point for David Hawkins' book. We usually don't get a lot of people on his scale above 200. So here again, let us get back to feelings and emotions. So I'm going to leave that on the board, and I'm going to talk for a little bit. We have in the past talked about how, and I called it, and I'll put a reference up to it. There was 2 videos on standard model for the illusion. And there was another one on body is the servant of the mind. And I'll reference those up here. In those, we look at how information from the outside comes to us through our senses and how we interpret that information and then signal the body how to respond. That step is important. The interpretation develops a signal as to what is going on in the outside environment based upon past experiences. And then that signal is sent to the body, and the body changes its systems to correlate with the signal from the mind. Now I'm going to step back. I'm going to use that again. But I want you to recognize when you look at the body itself, the body itself gets no information from the outside environment. Oh, that's counterintuitive. The body has no way of knowing the information that is coming through the senses. Why is that? It's just data. There's no facility in the body for interpreting the data. So the data coming from the senses, and if we look at, and I'll put another video, I might not have time for all the videos, or space. The video tells you how the information comes and must be interpreted by the mind. The interpretation of the mind creates the inside world. Now, we talked about that in recent videos, that through your sensory input, the data, you take the data and you filter it through your past, and you high grade it and take out of it what is important for you based on what you know, which are your memories. And then out of that high graded data, you create your world. Your world is created inside. Now we give a signal to the body and how to respond to the outside environment. Now here again, the body is not aware of the outside environment except as interpreted by the mind. The mind tells the body what's happening. The body changes its internal mechanisms, its internal systems to match the signal coming from the mind. Now, in the body, now it's matching the signal coming from the mind, and if coming from the mind is, this is a dangerous world, our past experience with this data coming from the senses is that this is danger. Oh, when that happens and the body gets a signal, you know what it does? Turns on the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight response. And you change all kinds of dance, see? And you change all kinds of systems in the body. And then the body will vibrate. It will send a signal back to the mind, says, okay, I'm prepared based upon the information that you gave me. Now I got to stop for a moment, and I want to point out and have you recognize that the information moving between mind and body is not in words. It's not in words. It's in electromagnetic and chemical signals. It's in neuropeptides. It's in neuron activity. It's in all kinds of stuff that are dancing around in there based upon the information from the mind. And then it feeds back. There's a loop. We talked about a loop in other videos. There is a loop between the body and the mind. The mind tells the body what to do or signals it. The body does a certain amount of magnificent things inside and then signals back, okay, I'm ready. Now, we talked about danger. Same thing happens if it's joy or love or ecstasy. You change systems in your body, and the body signals back to the mind, and the mind says, boy, this feels pretty good. A lot better than fear. But again, there is a loop, a signal between mind and body. Now, in the egoic world, we're saying, oh, the body is doing things because emotions are created in the body. I want you to look. The mind, input signal. The body, black box. Now, I call it a black box because we don't know what's going on in there. What you might call depression and has a certain inside feeling in the body, you don't know what's causing that. You don't know what thoughts are going through your mind. You don't know what neuropeptides are being activated. You don't know how your gut reaction is. You don't know none of that. But what you do know is the output. How does it feel? Now, when you say, how does it feel? And somebody says to you, well, how do you feel? You say, well, I'm depressed. You're not saying you're depressed because you know what you're thinking or what neurons are being activated or what neuropeptides or what gastric problems are going on. You don't know none of that. All you know is the feeling. So that's why I say the body is just a black box. So look what we have here. As a system, we have input from the mind based upon data coming from the outside through the senses. So we have an input based upon interpretation of that information, and input to the body. The body does fantastic things, dances around, makes all kinds of changes, turns on the sympathetic nervous system, and causes the body to vibrate. And you say, which is the output of the system, I feel depressed. What does that mean? When you say, I feel depressed, you have no idea what's going on in the body. You only know how you feel. And so you are using an emotional word to describe to other people and to yourself how you feel. So emotional words are how you describe your feelings. I'll say that again because this is where the change is. Emotional words describe how you feel. Emotions do not cause anything in the body. When you say depression, depression doesn't cause anything in the body. It is the mind, the signal from the mind that causes the body to go in all kinds of gyrations. So we have a scale here as to what our feelings are, our emotions. Love, high vibration, way up there, feels great. Fear, self-loathing, hatred, low vibration. Oh, this feels dark, feels terrible, feels like I'm in a hole. I can't get out. There's no light. Or, however you're going to describe this sense of not being in the state of love. So I'm going to, first of all, I'll do the best I can to put a picture in the video to look at these scales. But this is the conclusion I want to make to you. Emotions are descriptors. Emotions don't cause anything in the body. These are words. These are language. The body does not operate on language. So this doesn't cause anything. But it does tell you and other people how you feel. What is your vibrational level? Joyous, happy, compassion, pure consciousness. Now, how do you get to pure consciousness? That's a toughie. In David Hawkins' scale, nobody ever reached it. Not even Buddha or Jesus. They were all around 700 as he developed his scale. So we have a lot of work to do to help us stay up here in a positive vibration. And when we say it feels good, the vibration is very fast. When we say love, oh, and by the way, in A Course in Miracles, love isn't defined. They talk about a lot. They talk a lot about love in the Course, but it's not defined. Love is not defined in A Course in Miracles. What it does say is the Course takes all of the blocks away from experiencing love. So the Course takes the blocks away so that your vibration will increase, and when it does, see, there's no unconditional love in the illusion. No unconditional love in the illusion. There's always a condition attached to it. We don't like to think that. We say, oh no, I got unconditional love for this or that or the other thing or something. When you get right down to it, you don't. You wish you did. It'd be nice, it'd feel good, but you always have some underlying condition. Life's funny that way. So, I'm going to, first of all, feelings and emotions. Feelings are the output of input from the mind into the body reaction, the output, feeling. Describe the feeling. That's what the emotions are. That's what the language is. Emotions are language. They don't do nothing except describe how you feel. And now, thinking about that, how do you feel about this video? Did it give you some insight? Or did you say, That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. I know what emotions are. Emotions do this, and they do that, and they do something else. When you really get down to it, and you say, how do you feel? You use language. Inside the body, between the mind and body, no language. So how do you describe the activity that's going on in the body? What kind of physiological processes are going on, and how do you explain those or describe them? You feel the output of the system, and you describe the output of the system in emotional words. Why do you use emotional words? Because inside is electromagnetic and chemical signals. Can you speak that language? I'm going to suggest you can't. So you use language, which is a secondary skill, to describe how you feel. And emotions have nothing to do with the inside magnificent processing going on in the body. Oh. We have a lot to talk about here in the illusion. And remember, the first 220 lessons in the course are designed to begin to break down the belief system of the egoic world, so that you can begin to see through the illusion. How are we doing with that? Here we have the scale of, first of all, a course in miracles. Now, notice that as love varies, fear varies. As fear changes, love changes. So, in essence, the vibration of the body can be anything in between these two figures of love and fear. So the emotional feeling in the body can be just about anything depending on the interpretation. Now, with Ask and It Is Given from Esther Hicks, that in that book, she has a whole list of different emotional words, starting from the lowest of fear, grief, depression, and helplessness, hopelessness, powerlessness. And the idea in her book is that you begin to move up, increase your vibration, and as you do, you feel better. And following the process of Abraham, you can move all the way up to joy. And what a wonderful experience is that. In power versus force, the optimum is pure consciousness. And again, these are related to vibrations. Now, I don't have the full list. He has several charts in his book or scales that you could look at and see which one works the best for you to understand and begin to change your vibrational reference. Again, the conclusion. Emotions are descriptors that you place on how you feel. Emotions don't do anything in the body. You have no emotions in the body. You only have systems that operate based upon what the mind signals the body to respond to. Be good to yourself. This is a long journey. See if it makes sense to you. Initially, it won't. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time here in the illusion. Bye now.